Dust on the Mountain by Ruskin Bond. Part 6. Over the Edge. Pritham pressed hard on his horn again to let the people at the site know that he was approaching. He parked outside a small shed where the contractor and the foreman were sipping cups of tea. A short distance away, some labourers, Chitru among them, were hammering at chunks of rock, breaking them up into manageable pieces. A pile of stones stood ready for loading, while the rock that had just been blasted lay scattered about the hillside. "Come and have a cup of tea," called out the contractor. "I can't hang about all day," said Pritham. "There's another trip to make, and the days are getting shorter. I don't want to be driving by night." But he sat down on a bench and ordered 2 cups of tea from the stall. The foreman strolled over to the group of labourers and told them to start loading. Bisnu let down the greed at the back of the truck. Then, to keep himself warm, he began helping Chitru and the men with the loading. "Don't expect to be paid for helping," said the contractor, for whom every rupee spent was a rupee of his profits. "Don't worry," said Bisnu. "I don't work for contractors. I work for friends." "That's right," called out Pritham. "Mind what you say to Bisnu. He is no one's servant." The contractor wasn't happy until there was no space left in the truck for a single stone. Then Bisnu had his cup of tea and 3 of the men climbed on the pile of stones in the open truck. "All right, let's go," said Pritham. "I want to finish early today. Bisnu and I are having a big dinner." Bisnu jumped in beside Pritham, banging the door shut. It never closed properly unless it was slammed really hard, but it opened at a touch. "This truck is held together with sticking plaster," joked Pritham. He was in good spirits. He started the engine and blew his horn just as he passed the foreman and the contractor. "They are deaf in 1 year from the blasting," said Pritham. "I'll make them deaf in the other year." The labourers were singing as the truck swung round the sharp bends of the winding road. The door beside Bisnu rattled on its hinges. He was feeling quite dizzy. "Not too fast," he said. "Oh," said Pritham, "and since when did you become nervous about my driving?" "It's just today," said Bisnu uneasily. "It's a feeling, that's all." "You are getting old," said Pritham. "That's your trouble." "I suppose so," said Bisnu. Pritham was feeling young. He drove faster. As they swung round a bend, Bisnu looked out of his window. All he saw was the sky above and the valley below. They were very near the edge, but it was usually like that on this narrow mountain road. After a few more hairpin bends, the road dipped steeply on its descent to the valley. As Pritham changed gears, a stray mule ran into the middle of the road. Pritham swung the steering wheel over to the right to avoid the mule, but at this point the road turned sharply to the left. The truck went straight over the edge. As it tipped over, hanging for a few seconds on the edge of the cliff, the labourers leaped from the back of the truck. Then it pitched forward, and as it struck a rock outcrop, the loose door burst open. Bisnu was thrown out. The truck hurtled forward, bouncing over the rocks, turning over on its side, and rolling over twice before coming to rest against the trunk of a scraggy old oak tree. But for the tree, the truck would have plunged several 100 feet down to the bottom of the gorge. 2 labourers sat on the hillside, stunned and badly shaken. The other man had picked himself up and was running back to the quarry for help. Bisnu had landed in a bed of nettles. He was smarting all over, but he wasn't badly hurt. His first impulse was to get up and run back to the road. Then he realized that Pritham was still in the truck, probably trapped inside it. Fearing the worst, Bisnu skidded down the steep slope, calling out, "Pritham uncle, are you all right?" There was no answer.